Alexa TV presents in 3, 2, 1. Dateline Schools with your host, Terry Harrington.
This week on Dateline Schools, had the privilege of getting to meet Stephen Bigelow. He's the new superintendent out at the Capac Community School District. And Stephen, St. Clair County's education historically has worked together. The districts are work pretty close together and things. Is that kind of something that new, especially when you're coming from such a large district in Macomb County?
You know, that's a great question. What's unique about my experience is it's somewhat similar to the camaraderie in St. Clair County. And what I mean by that is I come from a very large district, but because of that, when I was a middle school principal, I was working with 4 other middle schools. As a high school principal, I was working with 2 other large high schools. So we had that camaraderie between each other. We were a little bit competitive with one another, but we were also working together. However, between districts in Macomb County, there's definitely a lot of competition because everybody wanted students within theirs. It was a school of choice environment where, everybody was out to get their own students, and there's also a lot of competition with charter schools as well. So while I would love for all students to come to Capac, I also understand that the programs around us have a lot to offer as well. And there's a good, close working relationship with the superintendents because we all have to be in this together. We really do, and we're working to help each other out.
One question I've asked other superintendents over the years is, how do you define what makes a good education? So how does Stephen Bigelow define that?
That definition for me has really changed over the years, and part of that is raising my own kids as they go through the education process. Anybody who has more than one kid knows that quite often those kids can be very different, and their needs can be different as well. So what's good for my son is not good for my daughter, so we need to make sure that from an educational standpoint, we have a large variety of offerings out there. With in mind that students aren't done with their education when they're done with high school. There has to be a strong focus on college and career readiness. So whether they're moving on to a 4-year university or they're moving on to a vocational ed program for skill training, we need to make sure that we're preparing students for both worlds.
Well, and as we wrap up the week, and it's been great getting to know you a little bit and what you think and welcoming you here to St. Clair County. One last question I'd like to ask. If you had a magic wand and can make any change in education that you would like to do, what would Stephen Bigelow do?
I would love to have a legislature that was responsive to the needs of education and took the time to sometimes listen to what we have to say, because we have a lot of expertise out there. It seems like sometimes decisions are made, though, without a lot of thought about what the ramifications for the schools are.
For Dateline Schools, I'm Terry Harrington. Dateline Schools is a production of St. Clair County News.